So let me warmly welcome all of you again. There still some people are joining the channel. So warm welcome to all of you to the lockdown technical webinars, which is organized by SLASSCOM. This is our second session. The first one we have done last week, and this is the second session. As I said, we are focusing on the latest technologies which the IT companies are using and trying to share the knowledge with you. So as university students, you can be better prepared when you enter the industry. So the knowledge partner for today's session is VitalHub. VitalHub Innovations Lab is a Canada-based product development company which create blockchain, mobile, and web-based solutions. And VitalHub is specialized in the healthcare industry. So as the name says, VitalHub Innovation Lab develops and supports innovative mission-critical healthcare information systems. And it has clients around the world, mainly in Canada, US, and Europe, and in few other countries as well. So the VitalHub was previously known as B Sharp Technologies. Some of you might have heard the name. And the company was started in Sri Lanka in 2007. So since 2007, the company was in operation in Sri Lanka. So the resource persons for today are Melan Peiris. He's a cloud solutions architect, and also Kelum Thenuawara. He's the manager software development, both from VitalHub Innovations Lab. They are the resource persons for today. So before I hand over to Melan to start the session, I kindly request all of you to keep your mics muted, so you won't be disturbing others. But if you have any questions, you can either type them in the chat, or you can ask the question by unmuting your mic. If not, please kindly keep your mics muted. So we are ready to start the session. Melan, over to you.
Thank you, Dylan. I kindly request, as Dylan requested, to mute your all mics because you will be not disturbing for the others. And if you have any question, just post it into the chat. So after we have completed our sessions, I will review all those questions and help you guys with the related answers. Okay, so let's focus on today's sessions. My name is Melan. Again, I'm a cloud. I'm working in a VitalHub Innovation Labs as a cloud solution architect. So mainly, what my job role is, I'm responsible for the cloud infrastructure that they have, and I'll be managing, and I'll be helping the other teams to deploy their applications in AWS environments. So we'll jump on to today's sessions. It's kind of a big topic for you all and for all the other people who are engaging in the current industry as well. It's AWS. It's so I will try my best to cover most of the introductory parts and how to engage with AWS. How can you guys engage with the AWS? And you can how to create accounts and how to launch a EC2 instance. And then how can you access those instances. I'll try my best to give you my maximum to you guys in order to groom you guys and get suited for the industry requirements. Okay, let's start. When we are talking about the cloud computing, we cannot the AWS. We cannot go away without knowing the cloud computing. In nowadays, cloud computing is the huge demanded thing in the IT world, because if you don't know about the cloud computing, that means you will struggle to get suited for the industry as well. Even if you are working in a software development, even if you are working in a quality assurance, even if you are working on the network or system administrator or whatever thing, that you have to get aware about the cloud computing. When cloud computing defined, I mean that when you search on the Google, if you can get the what is the definition of the cloud computing, it will be like this. Cloud computing is the on-demand offering IT resources across the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing model. When comes to the cloud computing, you know that if you want to own your own data center, that you have to build a building, you need spaces, you need cooling spaces, and you need all the servers and the technologies, all stuff you need, and you have to buy all these things. And that when it's come to the cloud computing, you don't need anything like that. You just only need simple account like Facebook. You have to create that thing, create account in there. You can use your credit card or either whatever the pay mechanism that you have. And you can continue with the cloud computing, pay as you use. So you don't need to invest anything on anything on like computing power, storages, databases, security appliance. So nothing cost like that. But if you use the cloud computing like Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platform, Oracle Cloud, you have to pay what you use. Even if you use one day, so you have to pay for it. So that is the cloud computing, the AWS and the Amazon Web Services and Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platform, Oracle Cloud. They are the leaders in cloud providing. And among them, Amazon Web Services is the leader in the market share because they have, so the next slide, it will explain like this. The Amazon Web Services, the most comprehensive and broadly utilized cloud platform. So you know this, these days, so we all are locked down, not in Sri Lanka, in globally, in all over the world. So you see that how it's, if you are having some data centers like computers in hosted in your office locations. So if you wanted to go there, and if you happen to go there and you have to manage those servers, so imagine that how hard it's at this time. So when it's come to the cloud, so you don't need to be worry about anything. You don't have anything about your offices or any other building. So you can manage the environment, your deployments, your applications anywhere in the world, from anywhere in the world. So that is the benefit that you can get, like so if you hosted your application in the cloud base. So when it's come to the AWS, you can see the most comprehensive and broadly utilized cloud platform, over 175 fully featured services. So as I mentioned in the previous slide, you don't need to worry about any servers, server operating systems, or Linux, Windows, or database systems, MySQL, Oracle. You don't need to worry about anything. So you can use AWS Cloud Platform. It's 175 fully featured service in there, including those Linux, Windows, and all the stuff that you require. So you can use them and you can build your application on AWS. At the moment, millions of customers, including fast-growing startups, largest enterprise to small, medium enterprises, and leading government agencies, they are using the AWS because it's more reliable and it's low cost. Here, this is the AWS global infrastructure. This is the most the important part. So when we are talking about the AWS, you can see how it's widespread across the world. So they have regions, they have availability zones in order to provide their services to you guys, and that for the customers. So you can see the orange color circles, that means the region. Region means a geographical area that they are hosted their data centers. So inside these regions, they are built data centers. Data centers mean, so Amazon, the name as availability zones. So each and every region has minimum 2 availability zones. That means these regions that you can see, that Ohio, in here, it's Ohio, North Virginia, Bahrain, Mumbai, Singapore. So all these region has minimum at least 2 availability zones. You can see inside those orange color circles, it mentions 2. So that means it has 2 availability zones. So at the moment, AWS has 20 regions, 1 local region, and 60 availability zones. And also 4 regions are coming soon. And among that 4, 12 availability zones are coming soon. So that means it's growing rapidly and it's growing very fast. So that is the behind or the infrastructure spread among the world. Okay. Then when we are talking about the cloud computing, there are few concepts that we have to identify when we have to get aware about that. So the on-premises, SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS. So this means like if you are providing anything as a service, that means it call as a service. Like when we taking about the SaaS, it means that software as a service. When talking about the PaaS, it's platform as a service, and IaaS stand infrastructure as a service. In these days, you can see that Keels is providing their delivery as a service. So we can name it as delivery as a service. If anything provide as a service, then you can see that you can name it as the first letter and as a service. So when discussing about the when talking about the cloud computing, the main there are few main concepts like on-premises, SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS. So you can see this on-premises. So how you what are the things that you have to manage when it comes to the infrastructure as a service? What are the things that you have to manage? When platform as a service, then software as a service. You can see in here in on-premises you have to manage in everything: networking, storage, servers, virtualization, OS, middleware, runtime, data, application. Everything you have to manage by your own. So you have to you need a system administrator, you need a network administrator, you have to use a virtualization engineer, you need to use the software engineer. So everything that you have to manage in there. But when it comes to the infrastructure, so you only application, data, runtime, and middleware, OS. Those are the only segments that you have to manage. For the virtualization, underlying virtualization infrastructure, and the servers, the storage, networking, uh, the others manage. That means others means that in here the cloud provider. So cloud provider manages all these things. When it's come to the platform as a service, you can see you have to manage only the application and data. So others will manage the other rest of the things. That means runtime, the middleware, OS, even OS that you don't need to manage. So yeah, they will manage by the cloud provider. So when it comes to software as a service, you see that in here. So you don't need to manage anything. You have to use what they offer. So that is the basically you don't need to worry about any of these things. So you can use their hosted application, their already built application, and you can build your own application by using those they are already built applications in the by the cloud providers. Here, when it's come to that SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS models and on-premises models, you can see various services that Amazon has provided. And so you can see if you are using the on-premises data centers, on-premises cloud. So your data center hosted whatever the things that you have to manage: the Dell, HP, VMware, Citrix-based virtualization, no bare metal servers, the hosted application. As I mentioned in here, you have to manage everything in there. So when it comes to the AWS has a software as a service model. It's marketplace, so you don't need to worry about anything. So you can simply go to the AWS marketplace and you can purchase their service and host the application and use their application, and you can host your application on top of their already built services. So AWS marketplace, the SaaS model, the AWS marketplace, I will show you in the later uh, of this presentation. You can get to know about the AWS marketplaces, what it look like, and how we can use it. So when it comes to the platform as a service, AWS provide like S3 buckets, RDS instance. S3 means simple storage services. So it's kind of an object storage. So you can store your images, you can store your files in there. So it's kind of thing, the storage service that they provide. When it comes to the RDS, it's a relational database system. AWS provided is a platform as a service, and AWS Lambda. Lambda is something like so you can run code without provisioning or managing service. You don't need any servers at least. You don't need any servers to host your code. You can use their service and you can host your application with your data. And Beanstalk has something like same as like that. So you can you don't need to worry about anything. You as a that you have to upload your code base, and within one click you can deploy your code with all the servers and databases and all things. So when it comes to the infrastructure as a service, AWS providing EC2, Elastic Compute. Just so you can provision AWS server in your AWS account, and you can log into that server and you can manage as you want. Like in here, infrastructure as a service, you can you have to take care of the application and data runtime, the middleware and OS. You can use your own OS, and what they are managing in infrastructure as a service. So virtualization, virtualization stage, server stage, and storage and networking layers. Okay, those are the services that they are provided, and there are plenty of services that they provided as a SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS models. So you can get to know about when you log in, after you have logged into that created account and log into their portal. So you can see what are the services that they are providing in there. Okay, when talking about the AWS provided, I think that this is the most important thing for you guys, because since that you are new to the AWS, I know that most of you guys are new to the AWS. So AWS provided a free tier for you guys. So what they have done, what they are doing is they are providing their services to use for all the newcomers as a free. So because when we are talking about the cloud computing, it's not something similar like that we are doing generally, because when you are moving onto the cloud, you have to pay each and every single request, each and every single minute, each and every single GB. But the AWS, the AWS, they are not uh, giving you any cost by the using the AWS, especially for the newcomers and for the those who are having interest of doing their exams. So easily they can access the AWS and they can use this free tier. So there are so many options. Even I can't mention in here, but there are few things that I have mentioned in here, because if you are engaging with the AWS, you have to launch a EC2 instance. You have to get to know about S3 and RDS. So that means that you have 750 hours uptime for your EC2 instance as a free. So if you exceed this 750 hours, they will charge you for the resources. And also they will, if you are not exceeding this 750 hours, so this free tier will valid for 1 year. Okay, 1 year if you are not exceeding 750 hours. So the 5 GB space of S3, the RDS instance, so it will on 750 hours. So there are plenty of services that they are providing. You can see it there. So there are that AWS Lambda, it's 1 million requests, and RDS and the light sale, the InmoDB. So you can go to this link and you can get to know about what are the things that they are offering as a free and what is the limitage. So you can go ahead maximum with this inside this free tier. So I mentioned that link, so you can go through that link and you can get to know about everything that they are providing in the free tier. Okay, then let's move on to the next one. This is another crucial part and most important. If you wanted to access the AWS portal and resources, you have to create a AWS account. So I think that almost you guys has known about that thing, because if you are working with the cloud, so you have to put in there, I mean that they need some information. like your general info like name, valid email address, and telephone number and credit card, and especially with the credit card things. So because you should have valid email address and valid telephone number, because since that since each and every cloud service provider, they are not located on geographically same area in all over the world. So because if they wanted to contact you regarding anything, so they should have a valid contact mechanism. So uh, that's why they need a valid email address. So if they want, that every month end they will send you a bill, Amazon account billing details. So they should you should have a valid email address and also valid telephone number, because if in case of emergency, that just imagine that you have forgot your password. So you, if you have forgot your password, so you will not be able to log into this account. So there are some mechanisms that you need to contact AWS, and they will call you within the time of period that you have opened the support ticket. So they should have a valid telephone number for you guys. And the credit card, the most important thing is credit card, because when I'm starting my career in AWS, I don't have any credit card. I didn't have any credit card. So I just imagine that how can I create this account, because I need really need that account to get to know about these resources and all stuff. But the one thing, and in those days we don't we that we didn't have uh, that facility. But nowadays there are so many facilities that you guys can use. uh, you don't actually, you don't need an actual credit card. You can use this the services provide, like I think you may all know about the freeme. They are providing your virtual wallet, and also they are providing the virtual master credit card. So you can you just have to simply contact them and enable all the web-based payment systems for that particular account, and you can use that card number as a credit card number and expiry date and all stuff. So you can use that virtual wallet as a pay mechanism for these AWS accounts. So you don't need to worry about the credit card. So actually nowadays you don't need a credit card. You can use that virtual wallet, like and also I think that some of the bank are providing some the web cards, so you can use the web card. Because I'm recommending use to something like that for you guys, because if you use some kind of a credit card by your father or mother or your brother or sister, so what happens if you just imagine that if you forget to shut it down the servers or delete the servers once you have tested all these things, it will exceed the free tier, and it will automatically getting charged. So you can't control it. That is kind of the disadvantage when you are that when you are engaging your credit card with the AWS accounts. So that's why I am recommending you guys to use a virtual wallet or virtual credit card, the web card or something. So you guys can uh, the you guys can deposit the money as you want, and you can engage that with AWS account or whatever the cloud service provider. So this is the sign in portal URL. So I'm going to demonstrate how to create an AWS account. It's very simple. It's simple. I think that it's simpler than creating a Facebook account, I think. So we have some disturbance. Let me go to, okay. Okay, what I'm telling is creating an AWS account is simple than creating a Facebook account. So basically, you can go to this URL, and if you don't have this URL, remember that you can simply type in the aws.amazon.com in the web browser. It will direct you to this creating AWS account page. So use your email address and password, AWS account name, and when you click on the continue, it will go to your personal information page, and after that you have entered all this thing, all that telephone number and stuff, so you will direct it to the credit card page. So you have to edit the credit card number, and you have to confirm your the billing address and the contacting address in there. And uh, add once you add, confirm and add, so it will create your AWS account within 3 clicks. It's really simple. So you don't need to worry about anything I like credit card or something. So you can create your AWS account without any hesitation. Okay, then AWS console. When it's come to the AWS console, I will Shama, I will let me check with this. So I will show you my screen because I have already logged into that my account. So in here, yeah, so you can type simply in aws.amazon.com. So you can because I have already created my account, so that's why it's saying sign into console. So here, if you don't have any account, you can just navigate to this page, and you can create a new AWS account by clicking in here like this. You can enter your details and you can continue for the next page. So then I will start like this. So I have already created my account. So in AWS, they provide root user and IAM user. That means you can create users inside your AWS account and provide the access and permission and permit what are the services that they can use. I will explain it on later slide because we have a session with the IAM module. That means Identity Access Management module. So until then, so I will navigate. So once you have created your AWS account, so it's simply you can select the root user. Root user means that account owner that perform task requiring restricted access. That means so when you are entering your email address when creating this account, so that email address is the root account email address. Here it's a root user email address. You can use whatever the email that you use to create your AWS account, and you can click on next, and you can type the password that you have entered during this account creation. Here, now you are on the AWS console. It's very simple. You can see there was no any something like that Facebook or Gmail or anything, any ads. So it's kind of very simple. So you can navigate to the services what they provided, like here in compute services, the blockchain, and the storage services, the database, the migration and transfers, mobile developments, and networking services that they provide. Like that, you can navigate each and every service that they have provided. And the build solution, you can easily build the EC2 server, virtual server with this console within 2-3 minutes. Here, build a web app, Elastic Beanstalk with 6 minutes. Here, register a domain, so you can purchase the domain through this portal. It's 3 minutes, like it's 2 to 3 minutes, something like that. It will take only. So simply you can type if you wanted to navigate to any of the resources inside this AWS portal and they provided. So you can simply type in like this. If you wanted to navigate in EC2, you have to type that EC2 keyword. So it will automatically sort it out what are the services that they have name called EC2. So it's very easy. You can simply click on this. And this is the portal for the EC2 service. So you can build your servers in there, you can create the volumes, you can create IPs, snapshot, security groups, all other things that associate with this the virtual machine in as EC2. So you can manage everything in here. So if you wanted to navigate to another service, you can simply go to the services in here and you can search in there, like we'll see S3. Then it will sort out all the S3 related services that they provide. So at the moment I'm going to the S3 service. So it will direct it to the S3 services and all the S3 storage buckets that we have created. If you don't have any buckets, then you can create something and you can work on it. It's very simple at the moment. It's really simple. I think that as I told, as I mentioned in the earlier, so it's simpler than creating a Facebook account. Okay, then we'll move on to the IAM module. As I mentioned in earlier, IAM means the Identity Access Management in AWS. This is kind of a the important topic when we are talking, when we are come on to the AWS or whatever the cloud computing technologies, because the cloud computing means so the everyone can manage everything from anywhere. So if you have exposed your passwords and login details to the others, they can log in to your account by using the web browser, and they can do anything in your account. So it will cost for you, because there I have known that by my practice, by exposing without knowingly exposing the credentials of the AWS accounts, so the hackers can hack, and they can launch the instance as they want, and it will cost for you. It's not going to be cost for them. So because your credit card, your virtual card, and your account, so you have to pay everything, and you are the one who responsible everything happening in your account limit. So for that, AWS has developed that identity access management. So via this module, so you can create users, you can provide access for them. So and some users can read some users can read all the resources in there. Some users can launch resources, like, so if you want some users to create EC2 instance, so you can provide that particular user to uh, permission. That user can only create virtual machines, EC2 instance. So he cannot, whatever the user, he or she cannot delete the virtual machines or access these virtual machines. He can only create virtual machines. So like that, you can restrict each and every application for the permission applications, and you can enable the multi-factor authentication. So I will let you know how to enable it for your account as well, because it's really needed when comes on to the security. So like that. So there are some best practices related to the AWS account root access. So you have to use some kind of a strong password for your root access. So root account login. So I think that is best kind of a best practice. So and also you can enable multi-factor authentication. That technology called multi-factor authentication. As you may know that you can simply install third-party application like Google authentication or Microsoft authentication software into your mobile, and you can bind the AWS with your mobile phones. Each and every time that you are going to log into this account, you need to provide the code and put it into there. So I will show you that how it can do it in there. So and also there is another best practice in the industries. In the industrial area, I'm not going to tell you to do it your own testing and something like that. So if you can do it, it's better. But if you don't want to do it, just ignore it. So you can use your root account to provision everything. So the best practices in the industry is not to use root account for the provisioning services. Like if you wanted to create a virtual EC2 instance, so it's not best practice to use the root access. But if you can create another user with administrator privileges and enable the multi-factors and provide all the permission that he needs to perform as an administrator, so that user can use so you can use that user to launch applications, create services inside the AWS. I think that that's kind of a best practice, security practice, because that means even if you have unknowingly installed some kind of a malware solution, malware software into your machine, so it will not expose your browser to give that password and root the username and password to expose the world. So hackers cannot be able to get it there, because since that you are you are not a root or administrator user, so but it's kind of a privileged user. So if unknowingly something has happened going on in there in the laptop or your the office PC or whatever the computer that you are using, so it will help to you preventing for you are exposing your root credentials to the others. Okay, then, right, as I mentioned in the previous slide, so enabling an MFA is something like this. So the first that you have to install the Google Authenticator in your mobile phone, and I will show you how to navigate. So then to the enable MFA for the particular user that you created in there, as you can see in this image. This is the page. Once you have enabled the MFA, the initial page is there, and once you install your mobile phone and once it associate with the Google Authenticator with your AWS account, it will show like this. So each and every account that you associate with the Google Authenticator, it will generate a code like this. It will expire every 60 seconds and it will generate a new code. Okay, then I will change my screen here. So simply once you log into that AWS account, it look like this. So you can simply, if you wanted to enable the MFA, so you have to you know that MFA can be enabled only via the IAM module. So you have to simply type in there IAM. So it will gives you the manage access AWS resources. In here you can manage all the users associated with your account and groups and the roles that they have that you have created to associate with those users, policies and account settings like this. So you can simply create users like in here. So you have to once you loaded into the identity access management portal, so you can simply go to the users and you can create by clicking add users. So in here by using the username, providing whatever the test or something like that, whatever the username that you want, and you have to provide this AWS management control console access, and you can set the password. And if you want user to create the new password at next sign in, so you can tick it. If you don't want, then you can untick that, and simply once you have created the user here, you can see the users in here like this. So I have already created the user called Melan, and groups it's provide all the administrator access. So once you click on this user here like this, it will go to the user summary, and it will show you all the users, that what are the groups, the policies that attach with this, and what are the groups that bind with this user. So when come on to this, you can navigate it through the security credentials in order to enable the MFA. So in here you can see the summary and the console password is enabled, and you can change it there from here as well. And also in there is a setting called assign MFA define device. So it's not assigned at the moment because I have to disable it. So once you have clicked on this manage, so you will prompted this one, this page, and it will ask you to type the MFA device to assign. So it definitely the authenticate app installed on your mobile and device or computer. You can choose this option, and once you tick on this, and you can continue, and it will come on to this. Oh, sorry. It will come on to this pop-up, and you can use the MFA app device camera on, scan this QR code. So once you install your Google Authenticator app into your mobile phone, you can allow that application, that Google Authenticator, to use your camera, and you can scan. Once we show this QR code, once you click on this, it will show the QR. Once you scan this from your mobile, so it will automatically add to your phone that third-party app, especially in the Google authentication app, third-party app. So they will ask the 2 consecutive MFA codes below. So you have to type as I show in there. There it will be generated in here. So this is the mobile application view from that you can get it from the mobile. So you have to use that code, 2 consecutive codes in there. So once you have typed one code, it will expire on the 60 seconds. After the 60 seconds, so then it will generate the new code, and once you enter it in there, so you can start clicking on assign MFA. So it will automatically add to you. So I will just show you like this. So I don't have any way to simulate to scan, how to scan the Google Authenticator like that. So I will just, so it's generating a new code for me. I will enter it's 55853. So I have to wait until it expires and generate the new code. And again it's generated, it's 4717. Right. So once you enable it, it's enabled. Now when you are logging to the logging to that account, so you need to use that Google Authenticator, right? Okay. So if you have created another user, so I can that you can create users for your friends and you can allow them access. But so once you log into that once they wanted to log into that account, so they have to use some URL console sign in link like this. Here you can copy and paste in here, and you can sign it out. So you can copy and paste that one as well in here as well. So it will sorry, this one, my bad. So it will prompt it like this. Okay, so account alias. So my account alias was Melan, as you already see in this URL. It's Melan signin.aws.com/console. So that will be my account alias. If you don't have the account alias, you can change it to your account ID. I will. So there is a 12-digit code. Uh, so it will be. I mean that it's kind of difficult for you. I think that using the account alias, it will be easy for you. So when you're logging into that account, so you can use that username that you have created in the AWS, and you can simply type the password. So it will ask the MFA code each and every time that you log into the AWS account. You have to enter the MFA code in there. So okay, sorry, someone is starting. What is happening in there? Someone has started their screen, I think.
Yeah, I think someone has shared the screen. I think Shalini. Shalini.
Shalini Chetana.
Yeah. Can you unshare the screen?
This is. Yeah. Okay. Just let me. Here, I think that you guys can see my screen again, right? Hello. Can you guys see my screen?
Still no.
Yeah, we can.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I hope that you guys can see my screen. So each and every time that you log in by using the MFA, so you have to enter that code which is generated in your mobile authentication. So you can simply type that code generated in there, 851.
Melan, give us a second. We are not seeing your screen. We are seeing Shalini's screen. I'm trying to kick her out, but I can't. Give me a second.
Yep, sure.
Okay, now it's okay. Yeah. Now we can see your screen. You can continue.
All right. Okay. So so let me do it again. I think that you guys didn't see my screen. Here you have to use the account alias in here. Then you can use the username that you have created in the AWS account, and you have to use the password. So once you entered it, it will ask the MFA code. So you have to enter the MFA code that generated by the Google Authenticator. At the moment, my code is, and you have to submit it. Then only you will get access to your AWS account. So by using this method, it will not expose to anyone, even if those guys hackers or the other guys has your account details, so they cannot be able to log in until that generated code has been MFA code has been provided. So that is the main advantage benefit that you can get, and AWS is really encouraging you to enable the MFA because of these security reasons. In industry also, nowadays there is a trending technology is an MFA because of these security reasons. So each and every if you are using the login credentials for the and everything, so nowadays all the companies and all the other cloud solution providers, they are encouraging all the users to use MFA. So because if someone wants to steal your credentials, so even if they steal, so they will not be able to log in that account, since that they need your mobile phone, and also access to that mobile authentication app as well. So that is the way that we can enable the MFA. So then that you will get secured your AWS account. When it's come to the billing, that is the most important thing when you're working with the cloud computing. So you have to you have to know about how much you spend on these things, what you use in there. So AWS provide us the very convenient UI for the cost, so that all the resources that you are at the moment that you are using and how much it's cost, like this you can see it in here. So at the moment, this is my account. I'm using only the Route 53 service, so it cost only $0.5 at the moment right now. So you can see in here. So when it's just let me show you my actual account. It's very simple to navigate as that. So I have to use routing. So this is the billing portal. So you can access the billing portal in here. Here the billing dashboard. In here, on top of the your account name, you can expand it and you can click on this my billing dashboard. So it will clearly give you the billing details, all the services that you use, and all the things. So in here you can see it will show you the last month cost and month to date, that this month cost, and for the forecast for the this month end. So it's really helpful for you, and you can create some budgets and budget reports and all stuff you can create on here. So I think that if you are using the cloud computing, so you should know, I mean, that you should have a good knowledge and understanding about the pricing as well. Okay. So the billing, set up a billing alarm. So in AWS, they provide an alarm. So they will send you an email if you set up some kind of just let's say like this. If you have a proposed budgeted amount of money that you have allocated for these AWS deployments, like $100 per month, so you can set up an alarm and notify you when it exceeding $100. You can ask them to AWS to send you an email. So then you get to know that you have already reached that $100. You have to stop your services, provisioning new services, and you can stop existing services but that you are not using at the moment, something like that. It will send directly to your email. So then you will get to know, because by using this alarm. So you can easily set up, if you wanted to set up in your account for this billing alarm. So you can just go to the Amazon knowledge base, and you can get to know about the steps that how to create this billing alarm. Okay, then here this is the example of the 3-tier web application that they have built, that we can build by using the AWS services. You can see it in there for the DNS, the domain name services. So we can use Route 53 for the caching, front-end caching services. So we can use cloud network, cloud delivery network. I mean that CDN, CloudFront. So static content like images, files. So you can use S3 and load balancing part using the elastic load balancers. And for the web servers, it's EC2 instance, and the applications also it EC2 instance. And also you can use the RDS as the database tier. So it's almost everything is there in AWS. So you can use these resources and you can simply build the 3-tier web application architecture. Okay, then this is the first simulation and the only simulation that we have placed in here, because when you're after you have created the AWS account, you need to test, and you have to create and you have to create an EC2 instance, and you have to try it by logging in. So I will show you how to create an EC2 instance and how to log in, and what are the configuration that we need to configure in order to log into the AWS account, AWS service, sorry. So once you have logged on to this AWS console, so you will place into this home screen, and you can simply navigate EC2, and it will take you to the EC2 portal, and you can see what are the running instances as I mentioned previously, but currently I don't have any running instance. And you can scroll it down, and you can launch instance in here. You can click launch instance. So it will directly this is the it will direct you to the AWS marketplace. This is the one that I have mentioned previously, like in here the SaaS model that they have provided. So they have already built some applications, OSs in there. You can search it there if you want. I mean that if you want some Windows servers, you can simply type in there and you can use the Windows based for the Windows based application. You can use the Windows Server editions OSs. So if you want some other applications like let me check the bind. No, bind is not there. Like the firewall. Here it's start. It's marketplace. AWS marketplace. You can use the here firewall softwares that they have already built. It's kind of a appliances. You can use the appliances and you can build your applications inside that. You can secure your application environments by using their already built application in the AWS marketplaces. At the moment, I'll be using this. Hold on. Okay, I'll save and I will come back again. So I'm going to launch an EC2 instance by using the Amazon Linux. Especially, you have to need to get to know for this one, because when you are launching an instance, especially during your free tier, so you have to concern about this free tier eligible softwares that they provided in this marketplace. You can see the plenty of services that available for the free tier. So when this mark is not there, that means you have to pay for it, even if you are in the free tier eligible free tier period. So especially keep in your mind when you're launching an instance, use all the OSs. I mean that in marketplace, the free tier eligible resources in there. So you can see in there here that it's not mentioned in the free tier eligibility. So that means that you have to pay. So when you are launching your first instance, you can check on this and you can select this Amazon Linux AMI. So that means our server OS will be Amazon Linux. It's similar to the CentOS, Red Hat, and like that. And also when comes to this choose an instance type, this is the next page that you are getting when you are launching an instance. So here currently you have they are providing so many instance types. So you can get the T2 nano, T2 micro, T2 small, medium, and so many instance type in there. So but the free tier eligible is T2 micro at the moment. So they provide you can 1 CPU and 1 GB memory and EBS only storage. So if you choose some other thing like that, so that means that you have to pay for that one as well. So that means that if you are using your free tier eligibility, free tier period, so you have to use this T2 micro instance. So then only that the free tier, that 750 hours are applicable for this instance only, and also 1 year free tier, right? So you have to select that one. So it's very small computer. I mean that for the testing purposes and for the time being, that you guys can satisfy with that one. All right, okay. And you can configure the instance details. And here, so I'm not going to explain each and every settings in here. So since that you wanted to launch your first instance like this, so you don't need to worry about anything. So if you want to, if you need to get to know about these settings, so you can simply navigate to this information icon, and it will say what is this configuration and what is this option, and what you can do is there. So at the moment that we need only one instance, so network, the rest of this keep it as default, and so you don't need to worry about anything in here. And just click on the add next storage, So it will direct you to the storage wise storage screen. So every machine should have a storage in order to install the operating systems and the other files and for the data. So you can, in here it's mentioned like free tier eligible customers can get up to 30 GB EBS. So you can add volumes up to 30 GB. It's almost, I mean, that this instance it has by default 8 GB. So that means that you have another 22 GB free eligible for the free tier. If you want to add another volume, so you can simply click on the add volume, add new volume, and you can define how much you want, 22, and you can select the volume type. Just keep it as it is at the moment, and that's you have already add that's the way that you can add the extra disk into that your server. Okay, so at the moment I don't need any disk for this deployment, so I will stay with this default provided 8 GB, and I will continue with that. So at text you don't need to worry about that thing as well. So the next part is configure security groups. The security group is something like that. It's also basically based on this based of the for the security concerns. So so once you are creating a Linux instance, so it will basically allow the, by default it will allow SSH for that server. The SSH protocol, that secure shell protocol, and the 20 port number 22, and it will allow custom, and we can choose it. This 0.0.0.0/0 means that anyone can access from anywhere. So any IP can access from anywhere. That is the basic configuration that they provide in security groups, especially because of, I mean, that once you launch this instance, you need to access, and you need to access those instances. If you launch the Windows server, it will allow you to remote desktop manager. So you can allow that particular ports in there, and you can continue the work on like that. So I will create the new if you have the existing security group that you have already created, you can associate with that security group as well. But if you do not have, just keep it as it is default, and it will create the new security group name as like this. And if you want to add another rule, like if you wanted to allow HTTP, and you can simply add a rule, and you can navigate it like in here, then HTTP and port 80 open, and you can specify what are the IPs, or you can specify anywhere from anywhere, anywhere from anyone, and you can simply add it there. That's very simple. So that means that this server has access for the port 80 from anywhere all over the world, like, I mean. So at the moment I don't need access for this HTTP. I will keep it SSH and review and launch. So it will prompt you over the summary page, so that even that page you can change up some summary, some things if you want. If you realize that this need to be changed, so you can do it like that. And once you launch it, it will prompt to this one. This is very important, guys, because this one so if when you're launching your first instance, it will prompt like this. So each and every the EC2 instance that you are creating in AWS, they will not give you a password in order to log into that server. Just like as we may know about our general practice, we should have a username and password in order to log in that server. But AWS, they do not provide any username or password, but with the username, with the key pair file, the private key and public key combination. So they will provide you the private key. You know, I mean that so you can create the new public key, like the key pair name, like the my first EC2, my first EC2, and you can see the notification that they have provided, you have to download the private key PEM file before you can continue. Store it in secure and accessible location. You will not be able to download it again, the file again after it's created. So once you downloaded this key pair, so and you launch the instance, it will not be able to download it again, that key pair. So that means, so if you don't have that key with you, key file with you, that means you will not be able to access your instance. Keep it in your mind when you are creating this, when you download, after you have download this key pair, so you have to keep it somewhere safe and accessible. So that basically, that because of the security concerns that they have developed, AWS has developed. So I'm going to download my key. Keep in your mind where's the location that you have downloaded this key, the PEM file. Okay, that my first two. It's on my documents, my files in AWS. I will save it. I've already saved it. Then launch instance. Here it will launching the instance, my instance. So you can simply view the logs, launch log, or else you can navigate it back to the EC2 instance portal by clicking on that. So when you come on to the screen, so it's creating my instance, the instance state is pending. So that means my instance is creating behind the scene. So I will name it as, like, from here we can name it as my first EC2. Yeah, it's running. See how fast that you can provision a server in AWS. It's really fast. It's tremendous fast. So within few clicks, you can get to know about this instance. So so once it's created, you can see the details in here. It's automatically give you a public IP, because if you launch the instance, that you need to access that instance. If you're having so if you don't have the public IP, so that means that you won't be able to access this instance from anywhere. So that means they will give you this IP, public IP, and the public DNS and the instance ID. This is for the recognition for the AWS related issues from their end. It's a unique one. And the private IP, which is associated with this public IP, and the security group that we have created in here, the launch wizard. So there are some details behind this one. So basically, if you wanted to log into this machine, so we need this public IP and public DNS. If you want, you can use the public DNS as well. So if you want, so you can use either public DNS or public IP, both. So okay, then I will let you know the okay, now it's right here. So if you wanted to connect this instance, you can simply click on this connect one, and you can see how what are the methods that we can use in order to connect this instance. It's an example. It shows like this. You can use some shell access tool like PuTTY or the JIT, whatever the tools, secure shell. There are so many tools, secure shell, Excel, PuTTY, or whatever the SSH tool that you can use. And this is the command that you need to execute in order to access that EC2 inside the AWS. So this is my first. This is the key that we have created. Keep in mind. So let me share my screen with that tool as well. Hold on. Here. Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm using Git Bash. I'm using the Git Bash in order to as my SSH tool. So in here, so you have to, as I mentioned it, you have to keep in mind where you save that key file. So I have saved it in my documents, my files, and AWS. Simply you can ls, because I'm more likely this tool because I can simply execute Linux command in Windows machine. So this one is git bash. So you can list the key pairs, the files that in particular location. You can see my the created the PEM file. PEM file means that private key file hosted in there. So as that AWS console connect mentioned, so you can simply go to the SSH tool and you can type SSH minus I. That then you have to define the key file path, and you have to define the user, EC2 user. EC2 user means that is the default user that AWS has created for your instance, and assign and the public DNS that AWS provided for your instance. You can simply enter. After that, the first time they will ask to add your certificate in here. So you have to type yes. And here you are on the AWS instance, AWS Linux instance. So you can check by its pinging Google DNS or whatever. You can check the internet connectivity, it's working. You can load your applications and you can data, and you can host your application in this EC2 instance. It's very simple. I think it's really simple, rather than if you wanted to, I mean, if you wanted to, just hold on, I will share my screen again. If you wanted to launch an instance in AWS, see how it's really easy. So if you are doing it on your own data center, you have to wait until you have to get the permission from your superiors, and you have to wait until that they're providing the approvals, and you have to wait until that server providers provision your servers, and you don't need to wait. I think that if you wanted to provision an AWS, you don't need to wait in such a ways. So you can simply launch your instance within few clicks. So I think up to now I have completed this one, the launch one. Keep in mind, so each and every time that you have provisioned the AWS instance, Linux AWS instance, you need to use this method, SSH minus I, your test, your key file, and EC2 user as the user, and at, and the public DNS as it mentioned in here, public DNS IP4, right? So that then you can access without any hesitation. You can access your Linux service server. So hope you have good time with provisioning the servers and get to know about the AWS and what we can do it in AWS. So I think my colleague Kelum is ready to do some other kind of a session by how to deploy application by in Java application by using AWS services. I would like to hand over to him. Is Kelum is there around?
Yeah, Melan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Kelum, I'll stop sharing my screen. You can get the control.
Hello, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, Kelum, we can
Okay.
see your screen.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So hope have a basic idea about AWS by now. So in here, what I am going to do is I am going to show you how to deploy a simple web application to AWS. It's a very simple one, and I think you will be able to deploy your projects, sample projects, and do the testing and do the media using these simple methods. There are more sophisticated production grade deployments, but in here I'm going to mainly discuss on very simple deployments. The first one I'm going to talk about is the deploy code to a virtual machine. Previously, my colleague Melan has created a virtual machine. Melan has showed you guys how to create a virtual machine. So in here, I'm going to show how we can simply deploy an application to a AWS EC2 instance. For this one, actually created a very simple Spring Boot application. It's working like this. Very simple. I think you guys heard about Spring Boot. So I use Spring Boot to create a very simple application. So let me run the application. Right, so it's actually the application started, and the application is support 8080. So if you guys go to the console browser, and if you guys type 8080, you can see the application. And this is a very simple application. What it does is it's a simple application which actually only allows user to log in using username and password. And once you log in, it will put a message saying hello the username. So this is a simple application which I have created for this demo. So let's see how we are going to deploy this application on the AWS EC2 instance. Okay, so let me change my slides. So it's deploy code to a virtual machine EC2 instance. First we need to do is, as Melan mentioned earlier, first we need to connect to our EC2 instance. For this demo, I have created a separate EC2 instance. So let me open my EC2 console. So here I have this is the EC2 instance I have created for this demo, the first one. So if you select that one, you will see that it's a T2 micro instance with the DNS 154, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect to this EC2 instance using the SSH. So I'm also using the git bash. So you can use any command window, any command console. So here that I'm going to SSH to my console, my EC2 console. So here I am in my EC2. So if I do pwd present working directory, so I'm in the EC2 instance now. So then what you need to do is, then you need to deploy, you need to check whether the Java is there, because I am going to run a Java application. So let me check this EC2 has Java. So you can check Java by this Java hyphen version. So it's look like Java is not installed there. So we need to install Java. So to install Java, we can use the yum package manager from the Linux. So actually I have done that. So the command for installing Java is that sudo yum install Java 1.8.0. Actually, we are going to install OpenJDK, not the Oracle JDK. So here we have installed Java. So let us see that whether we have successfully installed Java. Yes, you can see this. We have installed Java 1.8 OpenJDK. So now we have our EC2 instance ready, and now we have our Java uh, ready on our EC2 instance. So the next thing that we need to upload our code to the EC2 instance. So in order to make things easy, what I have done is I have created an executable jar file from this Spring Boot. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload this jar file into the EC2 console. You can use this SCP command. There's a command. You can use the SCP, the secure copy command, to copy your source file into the EC2 instance. So here the command is scp-i, the source file, and the destination. So in here actually I have created a jar file. So it's reside in one of these. It resides in this folder. So this jar file, I'm going to upload it to the EC2. So in order to so first let me exit from this EC2 instance, and let me upload my jar file. So this is the command. This is the command that we can use to upload the jar file. So actually, I'm not going to run this command again. I have already uploaded the jar file using this command. So let us check that whether this jar file has successfully uploaded. So if we put ls on the, so sorry, it's my local directory. So let's connect to our EC2 again, and let's do the ls. And here you can see our application Spring Auth snapshot jar. So then let us try to run this application using Java. Okay, yeah, so that application has successfully started on the EC2 instance, and it's running on port 8080, right? So let's check that whether we can access this application by URL from our browser. So I'm going to access this one. So you can remember this URL, right? This is the public DNS and port 8080. So it's trying to access. It will take couple of seconds to access the page. So it's look like you can't be reached. That's because we have created this EC2 instance and deployed our Spring Boot Java application in that EC2, and that Java application, the web application, runs on port 8080, and the port 8080 is not visible to the outside. So we need to enable that port 8080 for this EC2 instance to public or any trusted IPs. So for the moment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to enable public access to this port 8080. So in order to do this, you need to select the instance, and then you need to go to the security groups. So I have created the security group called. So in there, you need to go in the inbound rules. You can see we have only the SSH access. That's why, because of this only, that we could SSH to the EC2 instance through the SSH command. So let's add a HTTP rule. To add a new rule, so it should be a custom EC from anywhere. So I'm going to save the rule. So its rule is there. So we have 8080 enabled for outside any machine can access this port 8080 now. So let's refresh this page. Here you can see the application. So you can successfully log into your application now. See, you can see the message. This is the simplest way you can deploy your application into the EC2. But this is not the recommended way if you want to do the any production grade deployment. So let's see what is the other options. There's an option called AWS Elastic Beanstalk. AWS Elastic Beanstalk is an easy to use service for deploying and scaling web applications and services. Actually, the AWS, they have the auto scaling power. So if you use a Beanstalk, we can actually get use of that auto scaling and other facilities from the AWS. So let's see how we can deploy AWS, our Java application using this Beanstalk, right? So let me go to my AWS again, and I'm going to search for Beanstalk. So here that I'm now in Beanstalk. In order to deploy in the Beanstalk, you don't need to use SSH. You can use SSH or you can use a command line, but it's easy to, but there's a very easy to use GUI, so you can easily deploy any application. So here you need to come to the AWS Beanstalk and select create application. And from here you can give any name for the application. So I will say lockdown test, and we don't need to add any tags, and we need to select the platform. So I will select Java as a platform, and I will select Java 8 as the runtime. And here you need to select upload your code, and from here you need to choose the file. So I'm going to upload my previously created jar file using this. So I can do my jar file and so to create, press the create application button. So when you create application button, okay, source is required. So there's an error. Local file. Source code is required. Okay. So let me upload it again. So I have application. I have pressed the create application button. So the system started creating the application. So you can see now that actually it will actually this Beanstalk behind the scene. Beanstalk creates the new EC2 instance and deploy the application into that EC2 instance. So it will take a couple of minutes. So by the meantime, I have already deployed an application for you. So let's go to that application. And here, this is the screen that once you finish your deployment, you can see a screen like this. You can see all the logs here, and you can see the application health, and you can see the platform, and all the information are here. So if you want to access the application, here in top of the screen, you have the link. So you need to just click the link. So once you click the link, you will navigate to the application. So you can access the application. So simply, it's a couple of minutes of work. So you can just deploy your application in the AWS Beanstalk. So the third one is about deploy with AWS ECS Fargate. So this is kind of more advanced feature where you can deploy using the Dockerized containers and other container technologies. So for this demonstration, I'm not going to talk about that. You guys can read on that in AWS. There are a lot of tutorials. So I think I can conclude my session from here. Melan, you want to take it again? Take it back?
Yeah, sure. I'll take it again. Yep. Okay.
So I'm going to stop my share.
Right. Thank you, Kelum. So I forgot to mention you earlier in my demonstrations. So once you have done with AWS things, you have to keep remember you have to stop your instance, because otherwise you will get charged, or you will get exceeded your free tier. So whatever the things that you have done in your AWS account with the EC2 instance, keep it as stop state, because you need to save your money and you need to save your free tier. Okay, let's move on to the most uh, the advantages and the most suitable pages that we can go ahead with AWS. As you guys can see my screen, we have lot of resources, as Calum mentioned in previously. So the tremendous knowledge based articles and forums and online tutorials are there. So among them, so if you wanted to choose a path in AWS or cloud computing path as your industrial exposure, so you can follow these tutorials as I mentioned in here for the AWS. There are some links in here, so you can use this link and AWS.com Premier Support Knowledge Center. So they have mentioned all the generic issues that you can get during deploying the application in the AWS, and the issues that you have found when deploying the applications, when deploying EC2 instance, when you're deploying Beanstalk application, when you're using Fargate. So there are plenty of knowledge based articles are in there. And also, if you wanted to know about EC2 resources like EC2 services that they are provided, Amazon AWS has provided. So you can simply go on to this aws.com and service name. I will show you guys how to do it in simply. Sorry. So in here, it's aws.com. So this is the main page for the aws.amazon.com. You can simply type /EC2. If you wanted to get to know about more details about EC2, the pricing, what are the features, and what are the users that they are using, and case studies, success stories, like that, the pricing, instance types, FAQs, any starters like that. If you wanted to get to know about S3, you can simply type S3. So then it will show you about the details, that the documentation that they have provided. I recommended you to go through all the if you wanted to know about the AWS, just follow the AWS tutorials, AWS knowledge base articles. So because the vendor, the AWS vendor, that they are the ones who knows about everything in this cloud platform. So they provide all the necessary knowledges when you're using what are the benefits and how to implement those kind of stuff in their knowledge base articles. So and also they have the YouTube channel, Amazon. So from there as well, you can get to know about the services and video tutorials and their summit details, what are the new releases in there. So you can go through by like this in youtube.com, user Amazon Web Services in here. So they have so many reinvent programs and video tutorials. You can browse whatever they have in their YouTube channels. And also when comes to the certifications, as to the grow path in the AWS, you see that this is the huge story, the huge topic that we need to talk about for the cloud computing AWS. And you can get to know about that thing, and these are the certification path. The first, that you have to do the cloud practitioner exam, and then you can choose the path So if you wanted to become a developer, AWS developer, so you can choose the developer path and DevOps path and SysOps. And if you wanted to become a solution architect, so you can choose the architect path like this, and specialties certificates that the AWS has provided: networking, big data, security, and machine learning as well. So so I recommended you to the, if you want, because AWS not providing any training tutorials, video tutorials for their production, the products. So but you can go through the video tutorials, but you have to pay some amount of money for that. A Cloud Guru and www.udemy.com, they are the ones who are leading video tutorial providers for the Microsoft and cloud, the Google Cloud and the AWS as well. So you can simply purchase their tutorials from their video tutorials, and they will guide you for these exams, and they will give you some practice exam quizzes, and you can gain your knowledge through the AWS, especially in AWS. So I'll recommend you guys to follow these steps and follow these video tutorials. Then you can gain your knowledge through the AWS. And also I can remember you, I can keep you guys informed, because nowadays you can see the market and the industry environment is higher than the other the cloud based engineers, higher than the other engineers like software engineers. Even if you know about the software development, so you need to get to know about the cloud solutions. So you can check on that. I mean that when you go into the Google, and you can see what are the most demanding tech jobs in 2020. So you can see the cloud architect, so the DevOps engineers and developers, data scientists and data engineers. So these are all based on the cloud computing. So nowadays, and in the industry, there are more trending jobs. I mean that there are plenty of job opportunities for the DevOps engineers, cloud engineers, and cloud architects, the developers based on cloud applications like that. So if you wanted to explore your knowledge in cloud base, so just try to start with something. So if there is anything need to be known about the cloud, just browse all these things, all these links, and just Google is there for help to you guys. So I wish you all the very best for the participant. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Melan and Kelum. Yes, as Melan said, there's a lot for you to learn from this, and this is the best time for you to start learning, because everyone is at home right these days. So that's why we are doing this webinar series. So Melan, Kelum, there are a couple of questions in the chat. If you guys can have a look at it, one from Priyan and one from Ranga. There are two questions. If you can answer them.
Yeah,
Melan,
sure.
do you want to take the first one?
Let me take
The first one.
yeah, the question from Priyan. Can't we control the billing using threshold value? Say that actually we cannot control, because when we come on to the cloud computing, the pricing model is like pay as you use. So we cannot control, but if you want to control, like so you can, when it's come to the EC2 instance, because if you're launching the EC2 instance, that means it's launching with the pricing model as pay as you use. So if you wanted to control something like, I mean that, so you know that controlling means that you have provision $200 for the EC2 instance. So that what you can do is you can choose reserved instance. AWS providing some kind of a reserved instance that you have to pay for the particular amount of money, like so you can spend around $500 to $1,000, and you can purchase the reserved instance. Then you get to know, then you know that you have stick with that amount at the end of the month. Otherwise you cannot control the pricing, because that you have to, that is the major concern when you are come on to the cloud computing. So you cannot control, but you can control. I mean that you have to control it by getting more about the resources and how much it costs, like that. Otherwise, you cannot control by putting a cap.
The hopes that
There's
answers
another
your
question there.
The second one is from Ranga. Actually, it's about Kubernetes. Actually, Ranga, we have very limited time now, and we will be having another session. We are planning to have another session on Docker and other Docker with the orchestration engines like Kubernetes. So hopefully we can answer your question on that section.
And also the one related to the Priyan's questions. So Priyan, if you wanted to define some budgets, so you can do it by using the billing model, and you can define a budget cap for the particular month, and you can monitor that you exceeded the budget, and according to that you have to adjust your cost. But even though you have put a cap for the budget, so you cannot control the pricing.
Okay, there's a question about data security. Melan, do you want to take that? Tarinder, from Tarinder.
Yeah, it's a kind of a, yeah, I'll take that question. It's a kind of a the shared model. The AWS Amazon security services means it's a kind another different topic. It's a huge topic. So when it's come to the AWS security concern, so there are some things that you need to configure from your level. I mean that from our level, especially when customers. AWS can take care of up to some level. So if you take part like, so they do not have allowed to enter anyone to the data centers. They are data centers, and they have already a web application firewall for their applications. But even if they have configured some security concerns, security best practices, if you do not have configured the security best practices in your application, still you have the holes in your application. So that means that the shared models that you can that you have to concern about your the security on the application. But AWS fully secured. They do not let you to the others to access your application or your data or anything, even though they do not let others to have them, that they also do not have any opportunity to access your application as well.
So basically, you need to make sure that you are following the best practices and standard procedures.
Yeah.
Other than that, we can guarantee that AWS will secure.
Yeah, like that. So you have to encrypt your data, and you have to encrypt the data which is fed on your databases. So like that, you have to follow some best practices from your part as well.
Okay, do we have any more questions, or can we wrap it up? And so I think we can wrap it up now. Thank you, Kelum. Thank you, Melan, for your time to share your knowledge with the university students. And also I need to thank the SLASSCOM and the team from the Regional Development Forum and the staff of SLASSCOM who helped us organize this event. So thank you very much again. We will share this session in YouTube, and hope to see you again on next Thursday, same time, for the third in our series of lockdown technical sessions. Thank you very much, and see you next week.